Hello and welcome to the Pick Your Brain podcast from the demented minds of the League of Extraordinary Vloggers. My name is Thomas.
My name is Mr. E.
Mr. E, thank you for letting me pick your brain one more week. Let's talk.
2 for 2.
Two for two. Let's talk about Midsummer Screen.
Ooh, just passed, right? Last weekend.
That's right. It was last weekend, and we had a lot of fun, didn't we?
We had a blast.
It was probably one of the best cons that we've gone to, conventions.
It started from getting to meet people we've been trying to meet for the past 2 years.
Absolutely.
To getting to meet the fans, which was awesome.
That was so great. That really made the event that much better. But now let's talk about what the main topic is of this episode, and that is what makes a good panel.
Oh, yeah.
Like a horror event panel, because
that's true, because we saw so many.
So we saw for all the major haunts in Southern California and Orlando.
Yeah.
That now we're going to talk about what each of these haunts brought to the table and what made them really good, and some of the bad sides as well.
The help some of them need.
Yeah, so maybe those who are listening, we're talking primarily to you, Dark Harbor. Maybe you'll get some advice. So
this is our opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so no one get upset. You guys just take what we say, think about it, or come up with what you think happened.
Absolutely. That's couldn't have been said better. All right, so let's go chronologically.
Yeah, let's go the order of how it all started.
So the first one that we saw was Not Scary Farm, but Mr. E, you didn't go to
I
Not
did not
Scary
go
Farm.
because
what were you doing instead?
I had the honor to meet Miss Linda Blair, the one who plays Reagan in The Exorcist.
Oh, and did you get anything from her?
I got a signature from her.
Oh,
yeah.
What did it say?
Now you guys will be able to tell. I'm not going to tell you where it is.
Okay, fair enough.
But when we make our videos,
yes,
there'll be times you'll see what's signed by Linda Blair. First person who catches it, comment it, and then put your Instagram and we'll follow you or something like that.
Perfect.
Anyways, I was busy getting something signed by Linda Blair.
Yes.
And wonderful lady, very, very nice. Anyway, so I had to miss Not Scary Farms panel. So Thomas, can you tell me a quick summary of what happened?
Yeah, so the first part of the panel was talking about last year's events.
Okay.
But they kept interjecting about what they found to be successful about last year. So they were talking about the Hallow. But the thing is about this particular theme park is that Knott's does not tell you all the secrets. Like, even for their announcement of the new scare zone.
Like all the mazes?
No, they told some of the mazes.
Okay, right.
But they don't tell you what to expect in the scare zones because they want you to make your own story.
Wow,
so they want you, like with the Hallow last year. It was there 2 years ago, and then it was also there last year, and they added more and more to it. There was a Burning Man section.
Burning Man section.
Yeah, so like it was like a Wicker Man. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. It's a pretty. I mean, the original's a fantastic movie, but the Nicolas Cage. But anyway,
right.
It's just a giant man made of wicker, like wood.
Right. Okay.
And it's on fire. But that was never announced. That was only for those who came across it, actually saw that. So they're doing that something similar.
Oh, so they keep things in like secret areas too, or just by coming across it?
Basically, yeah.
Do you get codes, clues to find this?
No, not in this particular park. It's more like they want you to spend as much of your time in those, building your own story, building your own experience.
I like that.
So that way, if you go multiple times, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
So what they announced was Forsaken Lake. And I have to say, this was probably one of my favorite promotional videos that I've ever seen for an announcement, where they show, so it starts off, you hear like bells tolling, and then you see like in the lake, people are carrying a casket.
Interesting.
And then it starts like someone's like talking like you know, it's like they're
some weird
singing.
stuff.
No, I mean like it's like screamo, but
Right,
I don't know how to do
okay.
screamo.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I saw a little bit of this trailer that's coming out.
And so it was really well done because the music was fun and what we saw from it. So we saw that it's gonna be like part zombie, part demented humans.
Okay.
And then they even showed some of the concepts of like a witch doctor and also some of the like the widow,
right.
And then those who are coming back from the dead, like leaving the coffins.
Interesting.
Really, really well done video. And I had a lot of fun watching it. They played it twice, once when they first announced it, and then at the end of the panel.
Oh,
and
so they're hyping everyone up.
So well done, yeah. And I think that was a major part of the Not Scary Farm brand. So they started off with their history about like when it first was Not Scary Farm, but this promotional video was just so well done. And I mean, I would definitely say that was one of the strengths of the panel. One of the downsides, I would say, would be also one of the upsides, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
In the fact that they said that we're not telling you everything. And I liked that.
But so, yeah, you can tell they're using this so that the people at the panel are like, okay, we have to go. We have to go to this event
exactly.
now. Which I think is pretty cool, especially you're saying this. There's like you can build a story going to this event. You know, thinking about that, if you want to go with different people each time, there's a different story, which is awesome. And I want to go. It's hearing what you're saying, and you know, me never been to Not Scary Farm. You know, against its competition, there's no storyline that's built with the other competitions, which.
Well, we'll get to Dark Harbor.
Right. Okay, okay. We'll get to that, but you know what you're saying. It sounds really good. You know, they're keeping stuff more secretive. I like that because they're telling you there's going to be secretive. It's not like, oh, we have announcements for you, but we're not going to tell you because we're not allowed to tell you.
Right.
Hint.
Yeah, hint to what we will be talking about.
But I like that. And did they release ticket prices or anything like that?
Well, I think that day the tickets went on sale, so you can buy your tickets now. They didn't really talk about the tickets. No. There wasn't a Q&A. It was very straightforward, like presentation. Right. They ran out of time. They went a little extra.
Okay.
And so then so let's move on to the next presentation. The next presentation that we went to was Six Flags Fright Fest.
Six Flags, yes.
And Six Flags Fright Fest did what I think was probably the best thing they could do, and that was really to accentuate the fact that their strongest assets is their scare actors.
I was most impressed. I think out of all the panels, I was most impressed about Six Flags.
So go ahead. Okay, so what they did, for those of you who did not see our panel videos, or for those of you who did not attend, at the Six Flags Fright Fest panel, they had the scare actors fully disguised as the characters walking around in the audience. They had two of their characters, Tweak, who is a like heavy metal clown basically, like a motorcyclist clown.
They've had him before, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's come before. And Innocence is one of their newer ones, I believe.
Yep.
I don't know if she's newest, but she's one of the newer ones.
I'm trying to think if they said they brought her like one of their first years or something. I don't remember. I think it's one of her
she's returning. Yeah. One. But Innocence was this creepy girl, and I think what really sold it was the fact that she was right next to the I forget her name.
The marketing,
woman who's in charge of marketing, and she was so creeped out by Innocence.
She started crying, like not actually. She was just tearing up.
Yeah, she was definitely tearing up.
Pretty crazy.
But the rest, the rest of these scare actors were in the audience.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was crazy because. At the same time, you're trying to listen to what the panel is saying, but at the same time, you're moving your eyes around like, please don't come at me, because there's this one who looked like a dog, right? Like a dog wolf mix.
Oh yeah, I think
that follows the witch around or something like that. And that was the one I was making sure wasn't close by, because he comes up to you and he's like just make growls at you, stuff
Yeah, I
like that.
think
I
he's
was
like a swamp
okay.
beast or something. Yeah.
But that was amazing because
Mm-hmm.
it's telling you, okay, look what we have worked on,
Mm-hmm.
and here's proof. Here's
Right.
what we changed and what we're improving on,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is fantastic. And so something also that I think was pretty cool is they're big about no 13 or no one younger than 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
They make announce because they were saying how every hour before the hour before the event they start making, okay, this is announcement,
Right.
younger than 13, you probably want to go now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's yeah, everyone says 13 and older, like, but they say that on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
There's
like
no
they
one making the
recommend it,
announcement.
right? Mm-hmm. No, I think that is definitely something that what they said really sold it for me. That made me really happy. I will say a couple of the cons were the fact that they were constantly making a poop joke because one of their mazes is going to be
In the
sewer,
sewers.
so they kept making like a the joke was that if it's not your favorite maze, it's your number 2.
Yeah, ha 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 ha.
Ha, ha, ha. And so they kept saying how the marketing lady was getting like pee her pants or something.
Yes.
It was a little extra.
But they made jokes to make you remember the maze. I mean, I don't remember the name of the maze, but I remember it has to
the
do
number
with
2 joke.
it has to do with sewers. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, so I guess
They're not bringing back Suicide Squad. I don't know if that's sad or not because we did not go.
No. But I do think what was interesting, I'd say as a con, was that all that we know about these mazes, other than what they told us, was just like the picture.
Yeah.
Like they didn't put any concept art. They didn't put
But-
any. Yeah.
No. I almost mixed up Six Flags with Harbor, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would say probably the strongest thing, the most memorable thing about Fright Fest was the fact that it had its scare actors there.
And they even said, I mean, I kind of agree, they have one of the best costume design team, and not costume design, but makeup design team.
Yeah, the makeup was really
Because we
well
could,
done.
when they came up close to us, we could tell. I was like, wow, that's really well done.
Yeah. So, but like you mentioned, Queen Harbor. So let's go on to Queen Harbor.
Dark Harbor.
Harbor. Let's say Drunk Harbor, actually.
Oh boy.
Queen Mary's Drunk Harbor.
You know, okay, I'm gonna say I think this one was the most, kind of good, but at the same time was one of my least favorite.
Right.
But go ahead and summarize it, and then I'll tell you why it's my least favorite.
Well, what I think was what I'll summarize and also say was a pro was that the first character or panelist, I should say, that we saw was one of their characters. It was the captain.
Right, it was the captain.
And the captain really became the moderator of the panel. And that was really, really cool that this was a scare actor who was in character.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was also the ringmaster or ringmistress.
Mistress,
she was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the creative team up there.
Right.
That was really, really cool. And then also as they were describing the different mazes throughout the event, they had each of the characters that
right,
was
the main characters of the mazes, yeah.
And they were then on stage, and they were just like
they were really well done too.
Oh yeah,
they look really nice,
really cool. But I think it would have been better if they were in the audience,
right.
If they were,
If they because once they announced the first maze, what part of the ship is it on? I forget.
Okay, no, there's one that's on the port, right? Because it's the
like
port
that.
master. Yeah,
I think it was the port master or something like that. They announced his maze, and it was like, whoa, look at his costume. Wow, that's so cool. And then the guy was standing there for
he was
legit
standing there for like an hour,
15 minutes until they announced the next maze. So the guy's just standing there, and I felt so bad. I was like, okay, yeah,
and like unlike Tweak and Innocence of Fright Fest, they were just standing there. They
weren't moving around.
They weren't like messing with the panelists or anything. They were just there. So yeah,
I was like, okay, that was okay. Wow. I love the idea how Dark Harbor is always it's a festival. I love that it's like a carnival festival all around.
That's one part.
Right, like the main once you enter Dark Harbor, isn't there like a oh God, what's it called? Anyways, but once you enter, isn't there like food stands and stuff like that? When
Oh,
you
well, they're
enter the
changing
event?
that, right?
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
But you know what they also have? Bars. Lots and lots of bars. I think we counted like 5 different bars.
Didn't they say this was the most they had out of any years?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
And I think that's really, really dangerous for
the
scare actors and for the guests themselves.
For the guests also.
Yeah, so we'll touch back on that. I want to give a little bit more of the pros.
A pro is they have the maze designer from
John Cook.
John Cook. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
They got him on board and
from Not Scary Farm, yeah.
And they were showing his designs and
concepts,
his ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They were amazing. They were because he was explaining how was it one or most of them are interactive now.
Well, he said that they completely revamped all of them.
That's true, right?
Like they were based off of some of them, like the B234. I think that's
right.
That was based
off
of a previous one. But all of the mazes got completely changed, and there's the one that's kind of like American Ninja Warrior. You want to talk about that one?
Yeah, exactly. So he was explaining. I don't remember which one it was, but he was explaining how there's gonna be 2 different ways you can go. One way it's an easier path, and then the other way is
an obstacle course.
Obstacle course. I don't know what he means by an obstacle course. Does that mean that you're going to be climbing around and oops, someone pops from the corner? There's someone there to scare you or something. That could be something really bad or something.
I could, but also remember the fact that there's because that particular maze is right next to a bar. And apparently they have things that they'll throw at you.
Right, and
like
they can
water cannons.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the water-based one, right?
Yeah, I think it's
the water-based maze or something like that.
That's the one that's room 13 or door 13.
Gosh, I don't remember.
It might be that one, but
we have to rewatch the video. And if you guys haven't seen Dark Harbor, you should watch the panel, and you'll understand what we're talking about. But yeah, and then what made me so upset is there's gonna be secret bars, secret rooms and stuff like that.
There's only one secret.
Is there
bar.
one secret one?
Yeah, that's the captain's quarter one.
So there's one secret one. It's like, okay, cool, you'll go search for that. Cool. But if you're really an alcoholic, you're not going to take the time to go search for it. So I don't know how long that's going to last. But then the ones that are interactive at the same time, I don't like the idea of putting it close to a maze. Mm-hmm. What if you have an angry drunkard or something like that who decides like, oh, no one's scaring him well enough, I'm gonna go into the maze and I don't know, be.
No, I think it's not safe for the scare actors themselves.
No, it's we met a scare actor. We don't want to say his name, but he came up to us once we were waiting to interview Murdy and Aiello and Chris. He was telling us how he's not excited about all the bars that are coming, and he's saying that last year there was already incidents, right, with the bars, and they better have a good security team. That's all I can say.
But overall, the presentation was well done.
Right? Yeah.
The videos were pretty good.
It's up there as one of the presentations.
Yeah. The captain and the ringmaster, of course, were hilarious.
Yeah. That was very good.
The fact that the ringmaster, she took over for when they were presenting her maze.
Yeah, and she's like, watch it again,
she's like, let's play it again. So they actually played it again.
That was cool. They were comedians. And I like that. Yeah, they interacted with the audience, which was cool. And the facades, too. The facades they showed.
Concepts?
Yeah, the concept art, that was... I really like that too. The concept art were good. Anyways, yeah.
So now let's move on to Horror Made Here. That's Warner Brothers. This is going to be their third year.
It was the most packed one out of... that and Horror Nights.
Oh, those were absolutely... Those two were both very, very packed.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are planning to go next year, make sure for those two, get there early.
Oh, yeah. Hour and a half earlier.
Especially for Halloween Horror Nights, but we'll talk about that later. So when it came to Horror Made Here, they're very young.
We came sort of late because we were
doing interviews.
Murder House.
Yeah, we're doing with Aurora. And if you haven't seen that interview yet,
go check it out.
Head on over to our YouTube channel. the League of Extraordinary Vloggers, and see our interview about with Murder House Productions about
Trick or Treat.
About their Trick or Treat maze. It was a very fun little behind the
Very
scenes
well done.
tour. Aurora, if you're listening, thank you very much.
Yep.
So
And Nick, right? Or was it
Kyle,
Kyle?
yeah.
There we go. Sorry, Kyle.
It's okay. I'm just like looking at this spider that's like right next to you.
Boy.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We'll
Anyways,
take care of it later.
Horror Made Here.
So Horror Made Here, fantastic in the sense that it showed a lot of the concept art.
Right.
There was a video that we missed, so we weren't able to
Well, we
cover
walked
it.
in.
We
what
walked
were
in.
they showing? They were.
When we walked in, they weren't showing anything
No,
yet.
it was just a picture of.
Yeah, they were talking about previous years, and yeah, I think they were talking about it, and they were talking about The Conjuring, and then they segued into the fact that the Conjuring universe is coming back.
Right.
It is coming back, and it's going to be a completely different house. I think the selling point a lot for what Warner Brothers and Horror Made Here have is the fact that they're using the actual sets.
And they're using big name properties. That's
That they own, yeah.
Positive.
But I mean, the fact that it's the actual Annabelle doll.
Yeah, that's oh my gosh.
Ooh, my oh my.
You know, they were explaining a story where people were inside the maze because you go in as groups, so you go in big groups and stuff like that. Anyways, people were inside the maze and what was it? It was like something moved around, or some people have stories of things that moved around while they were inside the maze in the scene where Annabelle doll
like they've interacted.
and
yeah,
it wasn't like the people who created the maze. They were like, oh, let's tap this over to scare them.
No. It was real. It was real.
So that's
it was not just like it wasn't guests that were saying that. It was like actual scare actors and workers there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that was the.
I mean, it's not the Annabelle doll from Ed and Lorraine's house.
Lawrence, yeah.
But it's the movie one that's still
and I think that really goes down to there's a concept that if you pretend like to be calling on a demon and you like do make believe, that demon will actually take over. So like the story of Annabelle is, at least in the movie, is the fact that it's not the doll itself that's possessed, it's a demon using the doll to communicate. So that's very possible. The fact that they've shown her in 3 movies now. Right. It could be an actual demon possessed.
Maybe have to be careful with this stuff later in the future. You know, there's like, okay, look, we're using props and stuff, but I mean, yeah, we believe in that kind of stuff, but we never know.
No. But let's go back to the panel.
Right.
They were young and they knew they were young. They were talking about concepts. They showed Arkham Asylum. They showed.
Looks pretty cool because they're basing off the game, so we're not getting a Suicide Squads or anything like that.
Oh, no,
it's the Joker from Arkham, which
the Arkham Asylum.
I can't wait to see how they create it. I hope it's not a TV screen or something like that. If it's an actual actor or not.
Oh, I think it'll be an actual actor.
But I want to see how they do the makeup and stuff like that.
And similar to Not Scary Farm, they did not announce, everything.
Nope.
Like, we don't know all the characters that are going to be in
Arkham
Asylum.
They're keeping it a secret. They're like, you have to, because a bunch of people asked, like, they asked some crazy character from the Batman world, and then they were like, you have to go to see. You have to find out.
They did confirm that Batman will not be in this maze, but he'll be heavily hinted towards. Yeah, there'll be a lot of Easter eggs.
That's cool.
But it's like no doubt.
Another positive they said is the It maze or any of the mazes that they're redoing is not going to be the same. Right. That was a good thing. Which I think is awesome because I did not get to go through the what's it called, the
Neibolt house. Yeah.
But you guys got to go through that, and from the video I watched, I was like, it doesn't seem that scary or something like that. Right. Mm-hmm. But I say one negative is, well, knowing from last year. No one was allowed to film inside the maze. But this year they're having a media night. Did they not have a media night the year before? Nope. Okay. So that's why. So maybe it's a negative or positive. We'll see. Because maybe they'll be changing it up. I don't think anyone asked the question if the filming will be allowed inside the maze. But we'll see.
Yeah. I think another downside was the lack of control in the Q&A part at
Oh
the end.
yeah,
That was a little too chaotic.
They went.
But there was an interesting thing. We didn't put the Q&A part in our coverage of the video because we knew we were going to talk about it here. Is the fact that Warner Brothers said that they're going to fight very hard for other studios and other parks to have their properties.
Yeah, I really do think that Warner Brothers is we do have the best horror IPs, and that is our plan is to leverage them and use them for horror media.
But what was interesting was also their idea that there's going to be like a 4D experience with The Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I really hope we do that.
Oh, we will. Yeah, it's only going to be 8 minutes long. It's going to be the best scenes, and it's going to be interactive in some way. Then there's also the from what's it called? From script to scream, I think that's what it is.
I think that's what they're calling it because it's based off their script to screen.
Yeah, but Scream because it's horror, so it's going to be Beetlejuice. It's going to be a lot of Tim Burton stuff.
Right.
On their website, they're already showing The Corpse's Bride as being there as well.
Okay,
So
that's cool. That's pretty cool.
They also said that there was going to be Reagan's Pea Soup from The Exorcist.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're gonna have Sweeney Todd's.
The
bakery or what's it called? The
Mrs. Lovett's meat pies. Yeah.
They also said there's gonna be a bunch of Georgies walking around.
Yeah. So probably a bunch of old guys.
There's gonna be a Lost Boys arcade.
That's right.
Which is pretty cool. There's a lot of great stuff that they're planning on doing. I think one issue to me is they are making the ticket a bit pricey for now.
Okay.
For a new upcoming event, I think if they want to get more people to come, they wouldn't make it as expensive. I think it's around the same prices as Horror Nights this year.
It's like a couple of
right.
I think it's like $10, $15 cheaper.
A certain ticket was like 170 something.
Oh, the VIP, the Losers Club one.
Right.
Yeah,
that one. I mean, that's VIP. I understand that, but I don't know how much. But I think they were saying it was going to be around the same prices as not Horror Nights, as other events. They said. So.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. No. They didn't say that.
Oh, you just assumed.
Yeah, because they were showing they're showing the VIP ticket already being $170.
Right.
Anyways, I think they're gonna make it around the same prices as Horror Nights and stuff like that.
Okay.
Which I don't think is a good idea if they want to get a bunch of people to get going. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it also depends on the quality, right?
Right. We're walking into something new, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's only the third year, so maybe, I mean, if there's an increase in prices.
Oh, we forgot to talk about their type of terror trim.
Their Nightmare
Lake.
On Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah, that's going to be pretty fun.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, but it's like a new spin-off.
They drop you off at their
lake,
Camp Crystal Lake.
I didn't know Warner Brothers Studios had a lake, but apparently they have a lake.
So, I think that's going to be actually a bit scary. I don't know how long they're going to make it. Like, if it's going to be like
probably the same distance as the Terror Trip, maybe a little bit shorter.
Maybe, but you get to walk into the camps and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool.
You walk into Camp Crystal Lake, and then when you're in the cabins, that's when Freddy tries to attack you.
Right.
But when you're outside, Jason tries to attack you. So unlike when Halloween Horror Nights did the event, it's not them fighting and you're in the middle. It's them fighting you.
Yeah. They're teaming up for once.
So speaking of Halloween Horror Nights, I think it's time to transition.
Are we there now?
I think we're at Halloween Horror Nights now.
Oh boy.
It was, first of all, thank you to everybody who came up and said hi to us when we were waiting in line.
Thank you so much.
It was a massive line.
It meant a lot. It meant a lot.
It meant so much to us.
You know, sorry for a second. Well, we went last year, and there was still probably like single digit amount of you guys who came to say hi to us.
Yeah,
and
probably like a handful, yeah.
And but because of how many of you guys came out and said hi, it's showing that the channel is growing, and that made us feel really, really good inside because it's like, okay, we are doing this for a good reason. There's people out here who are actually watching, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, thank you guys for coming to say
definitely.
Hi.
Thank you very much. So yeah, the line was massive, not not just for media and gold bat, but also for general admission.
It started at what, 5 o'clock or something, and then
it started at 5.
We got there.
At 3:15, and there was already a line forming.
There's already the line started to build already. It was basically a normal maze waiting line, like in the Hall of Shadow. It was basically that size, so there was around 30 people or something like that. But then
I'd say less. Yeah,
we say 10 minutes in.
Oh, then it starts.
It almost got to hundreds there.
It was
like, wow,
crazy.
Okay.
So the panel was great because the focus of the panel was, for those who are trying to get in this industry. And a lot of what Midsummer Scream is showcasing the industry.
It was like a YouTube how to become.
It was like a DIY.
DIY,
it showed a lot of what Midsummer Scream does. It with the home haunts. It also shows like the effects, like the fog machines, prosthetics, how to make up. So they really went that route with the presentation. So at first it was like a Twitter Q&A.
Yeah.
So
as usual, how Murdy does the panels, how he starts it that way.
Yeah, with a Twitter Q&A. That was
normal. Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing too crazy. What was awesome was that we had the show director for Orlando, Michael Aiello, who was there, and he really added like an extra flavor to the Chris Williams and John Murdy dynamic. So that was great.
Dad jokes.
Yeah, there was a lot of dad jokes.
They're good jokes. They're good jokes for the moment. Yeah.
And then we finally got into after one thing that I've always wondered is like how they go from concept to actually physically building.
Yeah.
So that was a cool process.
It showed that. Yeah.
It showed that Orlando's a lot more high tech than we are. Using their virtual maze builder.
We have Chris still using paper.
Yeah, Chris is writing the whole thing out. Poor Chris.
But some people they think different ways. So
exactly. No matter what, the mazes are good. Different. Exactly. And then they finally got into
news,
which was like basically updates to Stranger Things and Trick or Treat. And of course, while we were talking about Trick or Treat, the makeup, he was talking about the werewolves. How we said that we see them half transforming. So they'd be like half werewolf, half like from the top.
Right. He talked about
from the bottom
facade.
They'd be women. But then he slipped and said how the beginning of the transformation will be very visible in the scare zone. And then he was like, "Oh,
oops,
I wasn't supposed to say that." So
and we know he wasn't supposed to say that because. There was because it's a PowerPoint slide. He wasn't clicking next and it's going to say trick or treat scare zone. We're like, oh.
So he mentioned it and we were like, what? Is he going to talk more about it later? No.
Nope.
But I digress. Michael Aiello showed a lot of the concepts and also what's being built. And I think that's what really set Halloween Horror Nights apart from the rest was that it actually showed what's being built right now. It actually showed the facades. It actually showed the puppets.
We saw the facade for our maze. We saw the facade for it too.
What are you talking about?
For HHN, we saw the
trigger.
Oh,
yeah.
I think you're talking about Mike's. Mike's was there.
Right. Okay. Sorry. No, I meant for both Orlando and for Hollywood, but I just meant the Halloween Horror Nights panel in general showed. Yeah. Unlike the other panels. But the fact that there were no new announcements after being part of that line, seeing how big it was, everybody
2 hour wait. Also, 2 hour.
It was a 2 hour presentation. The presentation was only supposed to be an hour long, and it ended up being 2 hours long.
I mean, we're not complaining about that because it was also great to basically hang out with John and Chris and Mike. But but you know what? One part, I was sitting next to Josue and. And we saw clowns from
Killer Clowns from Outer
Space comes up, and then we hear Mike talking about it, and then we see John and looking at Mike smiling, and we're like, oh gosh, here comes an announcement, we're gonna get Killer Clowns, and then they switch it, and we're like, well. Damn it.
Well, I think that he did kind of hint at it because he's like, some years you do something before us.
That's why we were like, oh my gosh, here we go.
But now we're doing it together. We're both doing the same. Yeah, well, that's nitpicky. But I would say, so based off of everything that we've talked about, I would say what makes the ideal panel is one that shows more than it tells.
Yeah, because because mainly what we saw in, I mean, not just Horror Nights. I think it was also, gosh, I forget which one it was. I think it might have been Warner Brothers or Made Here. Is we saw the pictures of the makeup and like there's sculpts being done already.
Oh no, that was
we didn't see Warner Brothers.
That was not Warner Brothers.
Okay, but we saw the pictures of it, but we didn't get to see it in person already.
Right.
Which I was like, okay.
But I would say if we were to like combine the strengths of all of them, I would say a panel who is moderated by the scare actors.
Yeah.
With the scare actors in the audience.
True.
That's not so much focused on telling what's being done, but shows announcements and very fun, upbeat videos. Right. And these videos are not just compilation of like people screaming like in mazes, but like having like original music and original concepts. Of course, that was by far what was the most exciting about this of all the panels. Except for Halloween Horror Nights, was the fact that I'd say Patient Zero, but the original concepts.
And then I also think for that to happen, you need to have the major company that's holding the events in the area to agree on announcements and when they come out and when not to come out.
Mm-hmm. Well, Midsummer Scream is going to be later next year. It's going to be August 3rd and August 4th.
We saw that, yeah.
So make sure to go get those tickets. But I think that pretty much wraps up our review, our recap, and our
overall
thoughts.
Midsummer Scream was fantastic.
Oh, this year in comparison to the 2 years that we go, this was absolutely blew last year's out of the water. Right. So thank you all for joining us and for listening. If you're on YouTube and you are listening to this, make sure to hit that like button and share, because if this video does well, then that means we will make this a permanent thing. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes, then that means this is a permanent thing. So if you're on one of those sites, make sure to review us, rate us, and upvote us, so that way we're high on the lists, and we'll continue to make these podcasts. Till then, I'm Thomas.
I'm Mr. E.
This has been the Pick Your Brain podcast, and we'll see you next week.